WMC Memphis, WMFS HD2 Bartlett Memphis, ESPN 790 AM with Colin Coward and The Herd, weekday mornings from 9 a.m. till noon.
The views and opinions of the hosts or guests of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of the management or staff of Intercom Memphis.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me. Where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find Outdoors with Larry Ray. Make some time, take the family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it all. Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it all. Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gaston's White River Resort, and Barton Power Sports. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
And good Saturday morning. Welcome, everybody, to Outdoors with Larry Ray. And you can tell by this distinguished voice, this is not Larry Ray. Hi, I'm Dave Gabbard, TWRA information guy for Region 1 here in West Tennessee, and I'm going to be your host today. I'm going to commandeer Greg Ratliff, our executive producer over there. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay. Larry's a little under the weather. Mm-hmm. Been talking with him all week. In fact, when I talked to him earlier this morning, he actually sounded like he swallowed a squirrel backwards, and it was trying to get up. But, of course, and my brother Darrell, Gene Smith, who's usually in the studio with us, he had a prior family commitment that he had today. So it's just myself and Greg and our ever array of interesting guests over the next hour and a half. But first, hey, today's 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, Dave.
Yeah, happy birthday, America. And plus, I'm going to give a shout-out real quick. This is my mother's birthday.
Oh.
She was born on the 4th of July, so I don't want – I think I have it right. I think she's 93. She's in that 9th decade, so. But I want to wish her a happy birthday. And, of course, being – the 4th of July, this is the first Saturday, and this is usually our open mic Saturday, but because everybody's a little under the weather and everything, we will not be taking phone calls today. So
hopefully next month we'll be back to normal again.
Next month, of course, we'll kind of tease it a little bit. Will be the first Saturday in August. That's the anniversary show, and I'm pretty sure Larry will be plugging that. I will be. Of course, at the duck blind drawings, the first Saturday in August is always the TWRA duck blind drawings for our waterfowl management areas. But today, being July 4th, of course, 1st of July, we've had big changes. Everything kind of changes, and kind of to bring a gentleman in who was. Probably getting a lot of phone calls for them changes, that went into effect and leading up. We got our commissioner, Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commissioner Bill Cox on the line this morning. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, guys.
Happy 4th of July.
Same to y'all. I believe they wrote a song about your mother's birthday, didn't they? Born on the 4th of July?
Yeah, born on the 4th of July. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, being I know back after the being in the office there earlier in the week, starting the 1st, or really started a couple of days before, a lot of people getting calling in and asking questions, they had seen or it's finally sunk in that some of the changes coming in. And probably, the biggest one that, there was a license increase.
Yeah.
That went into effect July 1.
We had nobody wants to raise license fees or raise taxes on anybody, but we studied this and hadn't been an increase in about 10 years, and with some unforeseen expenditures like U.S. Fish and Wildlife took the federal match for the senior license away from us, which $2 or $3 million, and we got the ADA compliance for our boat ramps and docks and things. It's going to cost $4 million or so to over the next few years to be in compliance. And then the big one was the radio system that has gotten antiquated, and some of our guys are in situations where the radios don't work. That's about $7 million. So along with other operating costs, we just went up the minimum amount we needed to cover those things, and we just didn't have much choice in it. So we know it's not a very good thing, and we know that other states are cheaper, but other states have other means of financing their agencies, whether it's a sales tax revenue or whether it's general fund money or whatever. That's the agencies all cost the same across the nation, and they just fund it a different way. So that's the difference. It makes it just perceived that Tennessee's overpriced, but we're really not. And
when you look at it, people, when you say increase, people are probably wondering, man, we really went up. But it's $6, on the cost of the annual combination hunting and fishing license. And I thought it was kind of interesting back earlier this year when y'all had your commission meeting at Union City up there at Discovery Park. And, and in the museum there, they had like a 1930, 37 hunting and fishing license.
Yeah, 1934, 37 or something.
Yeah,
right.
And I believe it was Commissioner Cannon who was looking at it, and he sat down and he applied all the
actually, I'm the one who saw it. And
okay.
He and I were talking about it, and if you take the consumer price index over that 70 or 80 year period, whatever it is, the actual price of the license would be within 50 cents of what it is right now after the new increase. So, it shows that we're not, we're just barely, going up with the CPI. So
right, and
that was somewhat comforting.
And not to, I always tell people, when you look at it, because I hunt and fish in other states and looking at fees and stuff, and actually Tennessee, that our residents, they're really getting a bargain.
Well, there's a couple of things that I would say that people may or may not know that affect their fees. One is the agency is involved in not just consumptive game management. In other words, deer, turkeys, squirrels, rabbits, dove, the things that we like to hunt. But the obligation of the agency is to take care of the non-game species and whether you like the cave bats or whether you the salamanders or the crayfish or crawfish, I'd like to say, but all those have to be paid for, and right now the hunters and fishermen are paying for that with some federal money that's matched or whatever. But that's one thing, and then the other is when you take, and I talked to a gentleman the other day about the fees and all, and when you take what we pay as hunters and fishermen for the equipment and gasoline and trucks and boats and shotguns and rifles and deer stands and the clothes that you buy far too often, whether you need it or not, a $35, $33, $34, $35 license to hunt all year, or if you have to have a deer license or a sportsman's license for $166 or whatever it is now, to hunt all year long, anything you want to hunt, that's not a bad deal. I mean,
No.
It really isn't. And it gets to be a problem when you compare it to some of these other states, like I said, but the funding is different. So it's really, when you take everything into account, it's not so bad. I would like to address something that we did back up on to try to take a look at is the Herb Parsons bike trail for bicycle riders. Dave, and you're familiar with the high impact user fees for the ATVs and horses and things, but bicycles got included in that, and particularly Herb Parsons, where it's not a trail that takes a lot of maintenance to TWRA. That we held up on that fee to kind of take a look at that in particular, because I think the original thing came out, it was some misinformation, and then it was the daily fee was too high and that kind of thing. So we're going to take a look at that, and we didn't charge anything as yet, but we're going to probably go back and my preference is to require the same of a mountain biker that a fisherman would be required to pay to have access to the lake. Maybe not charge them the Herb Parsons fee because they're not taking fish out or something. I don't know. We have to talk about that, but anyway, that's something of interest to people in the area that we're going to start charging the fee. We're just not positive about what it's going to be yet.
Right, and and this is not something y'all just brought up out of thin air, because sitting in prior commission meetings over the years, there's been groups of people come in and they go, "Boy, I wish we had you had some type of something we could pay to help pay our own way." And we would always look at them, and I'd say, yeah, if you just go buy a regular hunting fishing license, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's what we'll probably do. And there's the other user groups, whether it's bird watchers or bikers or horseback riders or whatever, people that use the property don't mind paying their way. They do expect to have some services provided, and that's understandable. But right now they're not paying anything, and they're getting use of the land in many cases. So we're establishing some fees, but like you said, it's not just out of thin air, a money grab. There are expenses that TWRA incurs managing the properties. And by the way, the properties for TWRA are separate and funded differently than parks. TDEC funds the parks, and some of it is core land, some of it's TVA land, but TWRA property is managed and paid for completely separate from all of those. So there's some confusion with why parks are one thing and TWRA, WMAs, and public hunting areas or fishing areas are different.
Okay, well, we sure appreciate you taking time this morning. I'm pretty sure that we'll be talking further on this subject as we get on into the year.
And by the way, I haven't had a lot of calls. People kind of understand. I haven't had a lot of calls about the fee increases, Dave. So people pretty well know what's going on.
Right. The word, when leading up to it, it's like, it was something that they didn't know it was not coming, like you said, because it's just the cost of doing business, and businessman like yourself. It's just, like you said, I don't see anybody that's operating on the same cost that they were 10 years ago, today.
Yeah.
And everything. But we sure appreciate it. We hope you have a happy 4th of July.
Yeah, happy 4th of July to everybody.
Just
Thank you very much.
I would suggest, stay away from the gas pumps if you're going to light fireworks.
I may crank up the big green egg here in a few minutes.
Well, good. Okay. Well, Commissioner Bill Cox for the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission this morning.
Thank you, Dave.
And talking about some of the changes that's coming in. And like I said, we'll be talking to Bill on out through the year on different stuff. And so it's all. Is it break time, Greg?
Break time.
Okay, I noticed you was pointing your finger at me. You got that finger loaded this morning. So everybody get up, go get you another cup of coffee. Come on back for the next segment of Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry.